We have a 2003 Mitsubishi Outlander front-wheel drive, and today we're going to be replacing the rear struts. Now, the front struts were recently replaced, and if we measure, we're about 12 inches off the ground. Now, if we swing down over to the rear, we'll see that we're 11 inches off the ground in the rear. We've lost an inch of travel because the struts are sagging. We're going to have to take everything out of the trunk to remove the foam that's blocking access to the bolts that we'll need to remove the nuts from in the back of the vehicle. Break it down to this point, and then we're going to remove the two pieces of foam that are blocking access that we need. Once you've got the foam removed, you can get access to the top of the strut tower, which is held in by two nuts. So to get at these nuts, you can use a 14 millimeter half-inch drive socket wrench, and that's just about the right size to unscrew the nuts that hold on the strut to the strut tower. Once you have the top side unscrewed, the bottom side is held in with a singular bolt. Once you have the nut off, we're going to tippity tap 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 this bolt-a-rooney out through the back side of this control arm. Alright, so getting it out is going to be a little bit of a challenge because the spring is pretty tall. However, you can't get it out without removing the ball joint. A pry bar really helps to get things out without having to do much else. So we found the easiest way to get the struts back in is to use a spring compressor. Get it from the top, or actually the bottom, where the mount is, and then put it as far as you can go up on the spring. And that'll allow you to scoot this thing in here. It's not super easy because the strut tower blocks a lot of room, and you really got to line it up just right, but it is doable. It's just going to take a little finagling. We're using the fact that the spring is already compressed to help us with lining up the bolt that goes into the lower control arm. So you can use a screwdriver to go fish that through that hole to help line up the holes for the bushing and the lower control arm. And then once you have it lined up, it's a matter of banging everything back into place. Now, it does help to use a jack underneath to control everything so nothing moves up or down once you have it lined up. So a second jack is handy, so definitely try that if you're having trouble. So now we have to torque that bolt that goes from the strut to the lower control arm to 70 foot-pounds. So the next thing to do is to torque down the strut tower bolts. These are going to be about 30 to 35 foot-pounds. Now that we've got the rear strut installed, we are sitting pretty at like 12 to 13 inches around there, which is definitely an improvement. You can see the gap in my archway is huge now compared to what it used to be, which is still what this side is. It's much, much lower.